What's up guys, Cyber Houdini here and welcome to Bioshock Infinite. We are celebrating 10 years of this game. Can you believe that? Holy hell, this came out 2013. It was the final year of that generation and we had an unbelievable amount of video games like GTA 5, The Last of Us, Bioshock Infinite, Arkham freaking Origins. The list goes on. DMC, Dead Rising 3. It's one of the best years in video games we ever had, and I thought it'd be cool to go back and check out Bioshock Infinite because, you know, it's the last time we got a glimpse at, you know, the world of Bioshock, especially from Ken Levine. And over the years, you know, people have kind of re-examined this, myself included, and realized that, you know, maybe it didn't get things right as well as we thought it was. You know, was it the masterpiece we remember, or was it a bloody tone-deaf mess? We'll see. It's definitely a beautiful game for sure, but I think a lot of the stories, they didn't quite, you know, work out. I don't think the writing was as brave as it could have been. I suppose when you tackle something as crazy as, you know, religious zealots, systemic racism, things like that in a video game back then, it wasn't really done, you know, and clearly they bit off way more than they can chew. My personal opinion, it's not my favorite of the Bioshock games. I do love its premise, I do love its gameplay, but yeah, I definitely much prefer Bioshock 1. In fact, if I was to rate it out of the 3 Bioshock games, it's definitely my least favorite. It's ironic, but it goes, you know, 1, 2, 3 for me. I really love Bioshock 2. I think that's an underrated classic as well. But Infinite, I actually like what they did with the story, you know, in terms of the kind of parallel universes and all that. Was it a kind of a cheap trick to tie everything together? I don't know. We'll see. They are working on the next Bioshock. It's supposed to be called Bioshock Isolation, with a kind of a parallel city that kind of splits in the middle, 2 cities at war with each other. We'll see about that. So that was the original trailer that we actually saw, and that was 12 years ago. So that's even, God, that would have been like 2011, and the wait was on. Like, people were freaking out. We had Bioshock 2 in between to kind of keep things at bay, you know, but people were waiting for the next masterpiece. I think Bioshock and the idea behind video games and all that, I really feel like that was a prime example of the fame and celebrity around game developers and game directors. Like, by this time, Ken Levine was considered a god, you know what I mean? Kind of like what happened with Neil Druckmann and The Last of Us and all that. Like, we do, unfortunately, idolize these people, you know, and it's obviously a team effort, but when the game director themselves gets pretty much all the kudos, it creates unimaginable and unobtainable expectations, you know. But let's have a go. I'm excited to get back into this. It's been a long time since I played this one. I've gone back to Bioshock 1 and 2 numerous times, but this one, not so much. I think for me, it felt like, you know, it felt like Bioshock with a different idea behind it, you know. Slapped on a new coat of paint. So it's 1912. We're during the World's Fair, which is a really cool thing that happens, I think, still to this day in America, which is really cool. Let's get in there. So definitely different times for sure. Yep. Let us go. Yes. Lovely. Of course, there's like hardcore mode and what is it, like 1912 mode, all this stuff. But we'll just jump in. We want to experience it how it was meant to be. Of course, it's not till like years later that it comes out that, you know, development was highly stressed. It was rushed. There was horrible crunch.
Okay. Are you afraid of God?
No. But I'm afraid of you.
The loot test is the mind of the subject will desperately struggle to create memories where none exist. Definitely some mind-bending stuff for sure. Off the coast of Maine.
Are you going to just sit there?
As compared to what? Standing?
Not standing.
There's always a girl.
Rowing.
Rowing?
There's always a city.
Planned on it?
So
There's
you
always a
expect
lighthouse.
me to shoulder
What's
the
this?
burden?
No, but I do expect you to do all the rowing.
And
Bucket
why
the
is
wit.
that
Coming here was your idea.
my idea?
I've made it very clear that I don't believe in the exercise.
The rowing?
No? Imagine that's wonderful exercise.
Then what?
The entire thought experiment.
Excuse me. How much longer?
One goes into an experiment knowing one could fail.
But one does not undertake an experiment knowing
The
one
7th
has
Cavalry
failed.
wounded knee.
Can we get back to the rowing?
I suggest you do,
No,
or we're
Wick.
never going to get there.
No, I mean, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would assist.
Perhaps you should ask him.
Bring the
I imagine
girl.
he has a greater interest in getting there than I do.
I suppose he does, but there's no point in asking.
Pay the
not?
debt.
Because he doesn't row.
He doesn't row.
No, he doesn't row.
Ah, I see what you mean.
This game has got that beautiful charm where you don't really understand too much the first time you play, but
Right.
after numerous playthroughs, you start to see that clever little storytelling. Alright. Manipulate the camera.
He's
There
not
she is.
moving.
He will, eventually.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
he does.
I suppose he does. These two very mysterious little twins.
Shall we tell him when we'll be returning?
Would that change anything?
It might give him some comfort.
Well, at least that's something we can agree on.
Hey, is somebody meeting me here?
I'd certainly hope so.
It does seem like a dreadful place to be stranded.
Well, maybe there's someone inside.
The good old Troy Baker doing Booker DeWitt. Courtney Draper doing Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I think, is the shining star of this game. If anything, Booker is, well, he's the guy we control. We're in his shoes, but for all intents and purposes, I see him as another villain character in every sense of the word, even before Revelations. DeWitt, bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. Wipe away the debt.
Excuse me.
It's good to be
It's
back.
Booker DeWitt. I guess you're expecting me?
Of thy sin I wash thee. Time for a little bit of a baptism.
Good luck with that, pal.
Booker's been a bad man. So we know, like Bioshock with their start and their incredible lighthouse, they went for a little more reserved here. Cha-ching! Hopefully it's bright enough and all that. So this is the
Is anyone here?
remaster that's on console. I think it
Hello?
runs really well. I think it's one of the best versions. We'll see. As soon as ever I compliment a game, it crashes. Be prepared, he's on his way. You must stop him. See. We're going into the clouds. Love it. Hey, Lacuna, how's it going? How many buckers does it take to say if we get it right? He's a bit of a twit or a DeWitt. Who knows? How's your day going? I hope you're doing well. I was trying to get my hands on that crime boss, but it's really weird. Like, they said it was coming out, and then it's like, it's not. You can't actually buy it off the store. It's only available on Epic. I think there was bad reviews for it, and they've now tried to just fucking pull it as quick as they can. You can see there's been quite the little fight here. Oh my my my.
Shit.
Somebody's been a torturing. Don't disappoint us. Of course not. Why would we ever do that? Are the Lutesses responsible? We have a job to do. He's got to pay back his debt. 1912. He had a hell of a little gambling debt, that's for sure. Not quite the airplane crash we're used to in Bioshock, but this one will do. It's a highly sophisticated little thing you've got there. It's not your usual lighthouse. Alright, so they're telling us in the book. Let me see, what was it? Can you open that? No. It was like one. I can't even remember what it was. It's been that long. It's been that long. Bonk. The Silver Eagles.
Wait a minute, that card.
What do you remember playing this? One scroll, two keys, two swords. Even the heavens answer back. You gotta love it. You think the people off the coast of Maine would be quite scared? This is not our world, but it's close enough. A little too close. My day's been well. Surprisingly, I had 2 coffees back to back. Just been trying to ride the caffeine. Oh shit! Nice. I'll get the blood pumping. The worst headache now because of it though, fixing. Oh, yeah, yeah. For sure. Wakey, wakey. May the circle be unbroken. My. The ironic thing is, we're going back in time.
Expect me to sit in their fancy
Because Bioshock 1 was 1959, 1960, you know? This is 1912. Somehow, it's got that awesome little steampunk future past technology. Hold on to your asshole.
Get yourself ready, Pilgrim. The bindings are there as a safeguard.
God. New and improved bathysphere.
No, God damn it!
Ascension. Ascension in
We're
the
not
count
going
of
down.
five.
A cheeky little trick there.
No.
3, 2, 1.
No!
Ascension. Ascension.
Ascension.
5,000 feet.
Jesus.
10,000 feet. 15,000 feet. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Now it's a little Rapture moment, but this time we're in the sky, the floating city of Columbia. This bit always made my stomach go ugh. The fall afterwards. Instead of a whale going by, we have a blimp. I think they chose to imitate a lot of things from the original Bioshock on purpose, you know? Not only to create that circle that is so prevalent in the whole series. There he is, Father Comstock, our prophet. False prophet. A fool of a man. But also, Ken Levine was not happy with them doing Bioshock 2 without him. Basically, exactly like Arkham Origins, you know? So, he wanted to tie it back to his masterpiece. We will not raise a finger for our own salvation. And though we deserve not his mercy. Not quite as powerful as Andrew Ryan, that's for sure. There's the circle. Will go on broken. I always forget you can move around a little bit. You're just thrown back, you know? You love all three games, nice. Love the little rocket pod. Seeing this for the first time, expecting to go down. Right? And it even looks down. They're so cheeky. He loses his gun. The prophet shall lead the people to the new Eden, of course. Of course. Just another cult. This time religious. Andrew Ryan's was in the cause of what he saw as creative freedom and capitalistic freedom as well. But it ended up being another cult. With Jack in Bioshock, he was called to Rapture, you know? He didn't know why. He just kept moving forward. Whereas Booker, he came to Columbia. He's got a fucking mission, whether he likes it or not. This looks amazing. Yeah, I still think the console version of the collection is the best way to play. They're really hard to play on Steam or anything. It's just not optimized for new systems, and it's really sad that they're just kind of dumped. It takes upwards of an hour to just get everything situated. Just as something as simple as controller support all the way to trying to fix those audio bugs is shocking. But the collection on console is actually really sweet. Yeah, there might be crashes and a few little bugs and random stuff. Here's the little rocket we come up in. Very bell-shaped. That always reminds me of like a barber's chair. So yeah, make no mistake, this game is heavily influenced by religion. For sure, for sure. This would have been just before World War I. But actually, it would be knee-deep in World War I, wouldn't it?
Where am I?
Heaven, friend. Or as close as we'll see till judgment.
Yeah. There's hints around everywhere, I love it. My womb shall grow the seed of the prophet. Oh, yes.
Best keep such questions to myself, unless I want to get made.
There's a certain kind of noir to this, which is what I like as well. It's not your average kind of darker noir, but still, steal everything. Talk of the seed. Talk of
the prophet.
Yeah. Of course, we have
Love
Lady
the prophet
Comstock.
because he loves the sinner.
He came.
The sinner because he is you. Without the sinner, what need is there for a redeemer? Without sin, what grace has forgiveness?
Hopefully the audio's good. I try and kind of, you know me, I always try and make the dialogue the best I can. I like the water still. It's definitely got to do with the baptism.
On this day of days, we recommit ourselves to our city and to our
Coming from someone with a background like with religious dogma and stuff, just Ireland was heavily connected, it still is, to Catholicism, but it reigned with an iron fist for many decades. So seeing all this kind of stuff is both like, it's always otherworldly, you know, not triggering as such, just feeling like you're seeing your fellow countrymen completely stuck, completely brainwashed. Move!
Is it someone new?
Yes.
Someone from the Sodom below, newly come to Columbia.
We must be baptized first.
Before our prophet, our founders, and our Lord.
I just need passage into the city.
Passage to the city.
It's like the light at the end of the
Brother, the
tunnel.
only way to Columbia is through rebirth in the sweet waters of baptism.
Isn't that messed up?
Will you be cleansed, brother?
You don't have a choice.
Either this or turn around and get back on that rocket.
Cleanse yourself, brother.
That's what I'm
Brother.
with.
Oh God.
Come and be cleansed. Hallelujah.
They're all fools.
Go on.
Won't be the first baptism, it won't be the last.
Baptize you in the name of our prophet, in the name of our founders, and the name of our Lord.
Comes across different given our history. Yeah, exactly.
The bosom of Columbia. I don't know, brothers and sisters, but this one doesn't look clean to me.
Double dip. Did you ever see that video of the Russian Orthodox priest just absolutely fucking trying to drown that baby? But it's a baptism. But Jesus, the baby's like, huh? So now we get a nice little flashback.
Bring us the curb and wipe away the debt.
Jeez.
What do you want?
We had a deal, DeWitt. Open this door right now.
I told you. I'm not gonna do it.
There she's gambling
Go
dead.
away.
There's the horse racing. See, 50 place, 10 place. Back then that was thousands, you know. So you can see what was going on here. Very creepy little dream. If you hear closely, you'll hear a tiny little childlike chime. Yeah, we don't get to hear where that's coming from yet. You can see what a miserable life. Just another gambling drunkard. Used to be probably a high-class investigator. Now, a lout. A drunken lout. And a vision of the future. Columbia taking charge in war to New York City. God, I wish we got to see that. Yeah. No, I think my father's generation, I think, was the worst when it comes to religion. Luckily, I grew up pretty much in the 90s, and they were kind of shaking themselves away from that, but even as late as the early 80s, 70s,
Priest needs to learn the difference between
it was
baptizing
insane.
a man and drowning one.
They had priests as teachers, they were beating kids, you know what else they were up to, like, just horrendous. I love that we lose a little bit of health there. So now we have the key, the sword, and the scroll, and these are all the founding fathers, now worshipped as gods, you know. Benjamin Franklin with his key on the kite, and you've got Father Washington, he was the first president.
We recommit ourselves to our founders.
And then Jefferson.
Prophet, Father
Jefferson.
and recommit
Thomas
to our
Jefferson. I'm not gonna,
that we may follow in
you
the
know,
prophet's path.
lie to you and say I know a whole lot about American history. I don't. Coming from across the pond, it's only what's been put in front of me, so who knows. Hello, little hummingbird. I love that they put these little details in here. It's still a very beautiful game. I just think they missed the mark on some of the story, you know. I think the story of Elizabeth and Booker DeWitt is perfectly Bioshock, you know what I mean? It's really well told, but he tried to tackle
fills our lungs with
some
water, so they may
things
better
that
love the air.
either he had no clue about, or it came from a very privileged perspective without having any knowledge of it, especially like something like systemic racism. You know, how the hell would Mr. Little, you know, Ken Levine have a clue about anything like that, you know? And it was, you know, it was a pure sign back then where clearly you needed more writers, more people of color in video games, and it was still very kind of shunned upon back then, which is not right either.
He who crossed the Delaware with flaming sword and wings of angels, watch over me and lend me strength, shield my mind from fear and doubt, so that
even
I
the idea of like
against all invaders.
A religious cult, different classes, you know, classism and that, a lot of that stuff, it's very, very hard to write. And when it comes to like I said, with racism, you gotta have some prior knowledge of it. You can't put yourself in those people's shoes. You can't, you know.
Share with me your wisdom and let the light of your
I think
judgment
far too many people try and do that even today, you know. It's silliness. This virtue signaling bullshit that goes on the internet when they haven't got a clue what people have gone through. I don't have a clue what they've gone through, but I don't dare try and put myself in their shoes, you know.
You see its divine hand.
Hey mate, how's it going? Hello. It does bite a little more than they could. Yeah, and I feel like maybe it would have been a better idea to leave it alone. I think if anything, he should have went the whole way there. I feel like he pulled back in the end, you know.
Just because the city flies don't mean it ain't got its fair share of fools.
For sure.
Still got a girl to find.
For me, it was like the religious angle that I was like, Jesus, you know. Like I said, it didn't really trigger me or anything, but I was like, okay, this is where they're going with this. Because I think the first Bioshock did have a little bit of a weird cult and religious angle for sure, but it was definitely all deeply rooted in the capitalist and anti-government, which I much preferred that, you know. This has parts of anti-government as well. Obviously, I mean, he went up here to start his own city, but it was definitely more as a prophet, as a religious zealot, as someone who wanted to rule, you know. Alright, let's get into Colombia proper. Here we go. It's a tough topic to talk about for sure. So cool. Every piece of it floating. Not just on fans and balloons, it's very steampunk, but there is a little bit of magic. It wouldn't be Bioshock without a little bit of magic.
I know, Mr. Rossignol. I've never had an oyster. Mr. Rossignol, you are terrible.
This is a game I wouldn't mind them going back and having another shot at, you know? Hello there. You gotta love it. It's so otherworldly. It's like the stuff dreams are made of. I hope you've been having a good week, mate. I hope you're well. Thought we'd play this for the 10-year anniversary.
Transcript of the Prophet's recent address to you, the Colombian people, on the holy forgiveness of our dear Lady Comstock, our beloved Mother of Forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Poor Lady Comstock is not with us anymore.
That statue, I just think it fails to capture Father Comstock's absolute, you know, divinity.
What's always interesting about these kind of games, same with Bioshock as well, is you get to see the after effects of these kind of cults, you know? You don't get to see how they became what they are. It's just afterwards where everything is accepted as normalcy. The brainwashing is complete, you know?
Saltonstall's alright, I tell you. Says he's for faith,
Hello.
family, and fatherland. Who could be against all that?
I think this story could be written... You know, when I say story, I think the Booker, DeWitt, and Elizabeth stuff is fine, you know? Like, when it comes to parallel universe stuff and time travel and all that kind of stuff, it's very, very muddy, and it's best kind of left alone, honestly. But, you know, it's fine. I just mean the greater side of it, the Vox Populi, the Daisy Fitzroy, all of that stuff. Even Lady Comstock herself could do with a massive rewrite. She ends up just becoming just a silly little gaming moment, a ghost kind of thing, you know. This is a bit odd. You know, that's the jump the shark moment for me.
Never hire an artist, my dear fellow. They are a temperamental and unreliable lot to
But I would like to see it written
I told him that
with,
the park is exceedingly
you know,
far behind schedule.
with a better
landscaping is
writing
half finished.
cast.
The statuary hasn't arrived. The fountain is full of rainwater, for God's
But all we
sake.
can do now is look
Even
back
the
at in
marigolds are
hindsight, you
still-
know. The gift of the prophet. So you can see we have the audio diaries back as the voxophones. Like I said, this is set before Bioshock, yet has an almost eerie, futuristic steampunk thing going on, you know? When see John Wick, how was it, dude? How was John Wick 4? I'm hearing nothing but good things. What will the great prophet reveal next? Yeah, being 1912, you know, this is when even things like that were starting to become a thing. Film beginning, you know? All the little Nickelodeons and things like that. Zachary Hale Comstock.
Archangel showed a vision. A city, lighter than air. I asked her, why do you show this to me, Archangel? I'm not a strong man. I'm not a righteous man. I am not a holy man. And she told me the most remarkable thing. You're right, prophet. But if grace is within the grasp of one...
You know, there's definitely a side of me that sees parts of America like this, you know. Obviously, it's, you know, a take on American history for sure. Especially the artistic side of things. But there's still parts of me that sees it like that, you know. When we're far removed, obviously, but even some of those type of architecture still exists in America. Things have moved on greatly, but also deeply rooted in a lot of the wrongs. Especially in society.
What does Vox Populi even mean, for heaven's
Vox
sake?
Populi.
It's Latin. It means...
Latin.
For the people. It's not the best in the series. Then again, nothing beats the first movie. Still a sort of action flick with a... Oh, nice. Okay. Bit over the top. Beyond realism. Oh, okay.
Detected a hint of an accent from our way.
Oh. You can already hear them. Yeah. These people are living in a fairyland. But just like Rapture, they brought their same prejudices. They brought their same silly little classism. Their high society bullshit. Their moral high ground that doesn't exist. They're just people. But they brought it all up to Columbia just as the same people brought it down to Rapture. Because you can create a new city, but you cannot change man. They are, unfortunately, the mob ignorant mentality, you know. And even to this day, ask anybody, ask even like anything that's gone on in the papers the last few days. The same shit is happening hundreds, if not fucking thousands of years later. We're still animals, sadly. And that means that if there's a riot, if there's this, if there's that, the mob mentality takes over. You see it now even on the digital front with social media. Immediately, all this bullshit cancel culture. No one wants to get to the root of the problem. The root of the, you know, the crime, really, let's be honest. They would rather go full mob mentality. Silly bastards.
After the victory at Wounded Knee, the Angel Columbia did present herself to Father.
There you go. There's the Wounded Knee again, remember that? Already little sprinkles of a wider story. This is all just propaganda, circa 1912. That's all it is. They see it as a celebration, but it's all lies. There's little Elizabeth. So this game very famously got 2 pieces of DLC, known as the Burial at Sea, which
Picking the right event to
really,
a day like today
really
is
tried
God's
to
business.
connect
Can't be everywhere.
Bioshock
You
Infinite
always
with the
miss
original
something.
Bioshock.
That's why we're going to the raffle.
Did it work out?
I have a good feeling.
No, not really. No. I think by this point, I hate to say it because I know, I'm excited for Ken Levine's next game. It's been 10 years later, he hasn't done diddly squat, and we're finally going to get Janice. I mean, I think the guy has a vision, but just like any other video game visionaries like Hideo Kojima, Neil Druckmann, you name it, these people are fueled not on coffee, they're fueled on their own ego. And unfortunately, it does kind of get things done, but you've had to, like, people who've had to work with Ken Levine have spoken out of it being horrendous. Same with Neil Druckmann, same probably with Kojima. You just don't know. Japanese people are very proud. They don't tend to talk out. But this is what's wrong. So you have to ask yourself, the old fucking thing we say, you know, separating the art from the artist, for sure. But also, is the ego of man worth it? You know, is you know, creating a project, finishing a project by any means necessary, even at the hate and the mental health of your fellow co-workers, is it worth it? You know, we are just a video game player. We don't know these stories until later, right? We don't know the inside stories. We're just the ones that play the finished product and we eat it up, you know. IGN, all these other news outlets, they fucking fell over themselves, almost worshipping the ground that Ken Levine walked on. And I see this game right now, at this day, I see it as, unfortunately, almost like an autobiography for Ken Levine. He is Father Comstock. He is writing this game. He is writing what he sees coming from simple things as a very high up video game director, as someone with white privilege. You name it, you know? You name it. He would have been extremely rich by then with the success of Bioshock and everything else. You know, he would have been sitting high. 2K and Take-Two would have come to him and said, make whatever you want, go for it. And this game had an extremely difficult development. I believe the first half of the game, everything was fine. And then the cracks started to show. Then it was rushed to the finish line. Massive amounts of crunching. It was one of the first games to truly come out, you know, whistleblow on the video game crunch. So looking back on it, it does have an extremely bitter taste. But this is me just speaking from, you know, rose-tinted glasses, because all of my favorite games, I guarantee you, have gone through some kind of a crunch or horrible days during development. Sadly, it is part of life. It doesn't make it any more right or anything, you know, or it shouldn't be happening, but
honor system, eh?
I don't know. I think we all have such fucking unrealistic expectations for video games. We want it all, we want it now, you know, that kind of way. Like, even today's standards, I think even more so. We're like, that was fun. I waited 4 years, 7 years, 11 years for that game. That was fun. What's next? What's next? What's next? I even do it myself, you know? And you might say it might be because of things like YouTube and Twitch, because the content wheel has to keep spinning, right? I get that. But on a wider scale, I think it's because technology has moved so fast that we do want everything now. And it comes from a really spoiled child perspective. It's crazy. Even I know and see it, and it pains me at times because there's not really much I can do about it. There we go, the old barbershop. And then it's like, what do we call that? The ludodissonant narrative. I'll go back and talk about the game and then talk about these issues that it had, you know. Oh. So you can see they're creating this almost godly, like heavenly fucking world around here, you know, and you know it's Bioshock. It ain't gonna fucking stay like that forever. The dick riding is real. Yep. Freddie Mercury. Okay, he wanted it all and he wanted it now. Yeah, exactly. Right. I want it all. Queen were fucking awesome, you know. They were huge over here too. Columbia's gayest quartet. It was 1912, it meant something different back then. Albert Fink. Albert Fink is definitely our Fontaine, I suppose you could say. Like the two bees. So we get to experience the 1912 World's Fair. The World's Fair, I think, still goes on from time to time. Now it's more of a series of events rather than a giant celebration.
And radical on me, John. I do not want to be some character out of I Married a Vox Populi. Now, do I?
The thing about this is because these people are in their echo chamber of this city, they don't even hide their racism or prejudices.
Yeah, that's where they said I'd find her.
Monument Island.
Telegram for you, sir.
Bonk! Go on, you little shite.
DeWitt,
Extra,
stop.
extra.
Do not alert Comstock to your presence. Stop. Whatever you do, do not pick number 77. Stop.
Alright.
Tess.
This game, I don't think it's as hard-hitting or cleverly written as Bioshock and, you know, Would You Kindly and that, but there's still some great moments. But I think it all comes down to putting yourself in the shoes of Booker and taking away your own choices, you know. None of the choices matter in this game. It's still a video game, so it holds true, just like Bioshock 1, where it's like, yeah, you think you have choice, but it's all about the presence of choice, but it's not real. It's not real. Would You Kindly took the idea of us playing video games, right? Why do we play video games? We do it for escapism. We do it to see the journey, right? And for most of us, to see the end, to complete another game, you know, that kind of way. And the whole Would You Kindly kind of turned that on its head. That's why it's so brilliant, because what do you do in a game? You always go to the next objective. You explore a little bit, you do a side quest or two, but you're always going to the next objective, you know? Even if you put a game down for months, you're like, fuck, I gotta go back to that game. You're still trying to beat it. And Would You Kindly just said, well, you're not playing it because you want to, because you're playing a video game. You're moving forward because of something else, because of Would You Kindly, you know? It's so clever. Whereas this game is like, you're living through Booker's story, no matter what, you know. Save the girl and wipe away the debt, but then you're also kind of given all these seemingly important choices that mean nothing. They mean nothing.
There's enough TNT back there to blow Peking to Kingdom Come. Again.
Damn.
Roadblock. Better find another way around.
What do we do? With these choices, we freak out, we overthink them. We're like, what does that mean? Will we ever figure out what that means? To Google, massive Google searches, forums, people talking about it. But they mean nothing. Because I think at the end of the day, the message for this game,
would you believe me? If I told you a man could hoist a one-ton stallion straight into the
does that hummingbird have a human head? Oh, I didn't notice that. Maybe.
Well,
creepy.
I am here today to tell. Those are no flights of fancy.
Very
Those are no tall
Nikolai
tales
Tesla.
behind the pool hall. No, sir. No, ma'am. Those are Vigors I'm talking about.
Our little
Brought
introduction.
To you courtesy of Mr. Jeremiah Fink himself.
Oh, yes. These will be our plasmids.
Has tasted the divine gift of the Vigor.
So you've got your electricity, your fire, your possession.
You know our prophet is fair.
I don't mind the Vigors in the game. I think most of them are very similar to Bioshock, but I don't know. I don't think they quite hit home.
To bring to you these amazing wonders.
I suppose the difference always is choice, huh? Choice to use the Vigors or not. Whereas I feel like Jack was like, pick up that plasma, do that, you know? They mimic each other so much, it's crazy. The envy of all his peers. So yeah, with John Wick 4, it looks like they have already, I think, 2 spin-off movies and a spin-off show. So yeah. Look at this fucking kids smoking back then. They really did that back then. There was a lot of smoking ads, menthols, all that stuff.
Would you believe me? If I told you a man could hoist a one-ton stallion straight into the air...
This was some year for games,
up
2013.
Bucking Bronco.
Bucking Bronco.
Bucking Bronco is just the tick. Find the devil, good sir, and cast him out.
Hit the devil 3 times. Are you a cage or a bird person? See, right? You feel like it's one of those things where it's like a glass half full, glass half empty. Nice. So I feel like Bucking Bronco is our telekinesis. Wrong person. Okay.
Devil number 2. Woo, he's on a
roll. To wait till this biddy gets out of the way. That was weird. Wouldn't lift him up at all. Thank you.
Lifted, lofted, tossed, or tumbled, Bucking Bronco
I love how they make the noise as if they're being hit. The skylines, yes, and the skyhook. That was a big, you know, I bet they were patting themselves in the back when they figured out the whole skyhook thing. It's definitely cool. Felt like you're on a roller coaster. I love the Vigors usually, but they don't quite click in this game. Yeah. I'll give them props for trying something a little different. Alright.
Well, here's a brave fellow. Now, shoot the box when they appear, get it up, and you'll win a prize.
Of course, he's immediately telling us to shoot. See? Already talking. Ba 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 ba. Bonk. Dude, I was playing the Resident Evil 4 remake. I don't know. They've almost copied the original so much that I'm almost waiting for another update or something. It's almost like people don't have a chance to make up their own choices of this stuff. That's why it would inevitably lead to something like the Vox Populi, you know.
Demonstrate your bravery right here. Shoot the targets, earn the points.
Everything just showing how to fucking think and act, force down their throat. Whee! Some hot dogs. Any other goodies down here?
Vox are at it again. See them villains zipping around, spreading their lies and dissent. Fear not, I got you secure. Good man. Now take
give me all your goodies. Yeah, I really like things like the murder of crows and that. Yeah, they wanted them to be familiar while also be their own thing. That's what I was saying. Like Book and Bronco is like telekinesis, but not quite. I can't tell if I got that one. Double whammy. Almost there. Damn. Oh, second place. That's as fast as he would go. Then you had what was that weirder one? Oh yeah, Return to Sender was interesting. You would create this kind of a magnetic wormhole to collect up people's bullets and send them back. I really enjoy that one. The ironic thing was, you know, Ken was extremely unhappy with them doing Bioshock 2 because it had nothing got to do with him, you know, and it was taking his baby and doing something else with it. I love Bioshock 2, but Bioshock 2 introduced a lot of the traps and things like that, you know, especially on the ground, and this game heavily goes into the trap, so you start to wonder where he got some of his ideas from. But yeah, they are working on a new Bioshock. It's still a whiles away. It's done by a new 2K studio called Cloud Chamber, but obviously it's made up of a huge host of Bioshock veterans. That's supposed to be called Bioshock Isolation. That's just a code name for now. Elizabeth just watching in the background. Poor little thing. She's literally watching from her tower, like a Disney princess in her tower, but not quite. And yeah, Bioshock Isolation, the story for it so far, now this is all rumors and subject to change, of course, but it's meant to be taking place in Antarctica, or at least underground Antarctica, with 2 cities and some kind of massive parallel universe split in the middle that they've discovered. So you got 2 warring giant cities, both with extremely unique art styles, and obviously, you know what Bioshock is known for, its different societies collapsing and things like that. It's not so like Burial at Sea that you get to see Rapture a little bit before its fall, you know. With this, you get to see Columbia before its fall.
Hear your voice from the past in the present.
Scoot about. Record your own voxophone.
Say something, Sonny.
What's a voxophone? What's a voxophone?
Exactly that. A personal record of voice.
Hey, just so we're clear, I'm not paying for this.
Just a demonstration.
You want to talk about like Troy Baker's voice being overused? He's a great voice actor, but this year alone, right, 2013, he played Booker DeWitt. He played Joker in Arkham Origins. He played fucking Joel in The Last of Us. That's only the big ones. Like, there's probably plenty more. Like, this dude was everywhere. Like, he was like a fly on shite. You couldn't get away from him. But I would actually argue that Booker's probably his weakest. Not in terms of quality, just in terms of, I guess, him actually having to change his accent and do all that kind of stuff. He sounds as close to Troy as you're going to get. Alright, you can keep doing those until you get all the points if you want. There we go. This is Infinite's Big Daddy. I'm not a big fan of the Handyman at all. They're a 10% of a Big Daddy. And them showing the Handyman early is exactly when you're walking through Rapture and you look over to the tunnel and you see the little sister, the Big Daddy. But you can already see that the Handyman is clearly not really controllable. You know, the Tin Man, Wizard of Oz, every photo they take is obviously annoying him. Definitely feels like the Wizard of Oz, huh? Whatever you do, don't look behind that curtain. Don't you do it, Booker. So yeah, Shock Jockey is our Electro. Fucking Bronco is our telekinesis, basically. It just raises stuff up. There's no real telekinesis. Murder of Crows. Possession. Devil's Kiss is our Fireball and Incinerate.
Have you ever seen anything like it? Sad. You're that strong.
Have you ever lost a penny to a vending machine?
Hello.
Has a pay telephone ever refused to connect you with a beloved spouse? Well,
time to get our
it's
first
time to take back
figure.
control from the men of metal.
Possession.
With just a whisper, they're all ears.
God, your character models suffered a good bit, didn't they? Having the Vox Populi, the voice of the people, the label terror, sums up the entire premise. Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely an examination of people as a whole doing bad, you know? Yeah, let's see. Futuristic themes. That's a good question. If I was to be a guessing man, I'd say that they'll play around with both, you know? Maybe we'll get something from the past and something from the future. I'm not sure. Okay, all I've told you there is just high rumors at this point, you know?
What the hell was that?
And most games go through complete overhauls within like a year before they're released sometimes. That's why there's so much crunch, you know? Because they can't quite settle on ideas. So who knows? Booker is really playing, yeah. As a voice, yeah. But he plays it well, you know? He probably has very little lines if you think about it. I suppose he's a far departure from Jack. You want to talk about, like, you know, playing, putting your... Alright, so Possession doesn't only just work on people, it also works on all automatons as well.
Sorry, pal. The
Fuck you!
Well, if it isn't Assemblyman Buford.
Thank you.
Your spot
Thank
at
you.
the raffle awaits.
And look who it is.
I didn't recognize you before.
Yeah, shit, bollock.
Always good to have gentlemen of your caliber at our fine fairgrounds.
I like that they added the little idle animations for each Vigor, just like you had with the plasmids. The loot test is one of their many pointless choices.
Come on, let me through. Heads?
Or tails?
Heads or tails? Flip a coin. These two twins, if you'd like to call them that, are quite the little mysterious entity.
I never find that as satisfying as I'd imagined.
Chin up. There's always next time.
I suppose.
So look at all the heads on the back as well. So that makes you think that everyone who's come through has probably flipped that coin, right? But not necessarily. Not everybody who's come through. thought they're usually supposed to disappear, huh? Huh? No matter how many times we flip that coin.
Until you do. You have my word on that.
Yes, yes. Look who it is.
Is it that time of year already?
When the young ones misbehave, escorts children to their grave.
This,
Never back
damn.
never lie, or he'll drop you from the sky.
Listen to that. So they're raised with a nursery rhyme about the songbird killing misbehaving children. Who could be scared of this cute little bird, huh? The handyman or Big Daddy? Songbird. Whew. Sing praise to the songbird. He's definitely our deity. Dollar bill. What do you got, sir? Not quite the circus of value, but we'll take it. Some health kits, some salt. Salt is basically our mana, and you can possess those and get a little bit extra off. It's always fun to listen to people, their little tiny conversations, because remember, just like most movies, right? In video games, every little bit of dialogue, even NPC dialogue, is expertly chosen. Not every side quest is gonna hit you that well, but
my role model? Why, Lady Comstock, of course.
It always means something.
Oh, that poor woman.
Yeah, she's an interesting character, Lady Comstock, and I really wish they explored that more, because she has such an important role to play, right? There's the founding fathers again. I just love watching the city float around. You don't actually get to notice so much because it becomes second nature almost immediately.
We gotta have the best. Huh? They got any openings in the group? I'd love to bust some Vox skull.
And there's the Skyhawk. The only reason I spend so much time here at the start, you can just run the whole way and get the shooty bang bang started, but honestly, ooh, our first little look at a tear. And if you looked really close and you were quick enough there, it'd actually give half the game away right there and then. It was a statue of Lutece that magically changed to the other twin, huh? You gotta love it. Constant favor.
Madame Lutece, I have read all your books on the sciences. Mama says it's not a fit occupation for a lady.
You see the way she has Columbia in her hands?
Is it true that only you were allowed to visit the girl in the tower? If the Lan is lonely too, I should like to meet her, as we would have much in common. Warmest regards, Constance.
Let me see something real quick. I don't see the subtitles coming through. Dialogue. Maybe they don't have any. I don't see it. No. Could have sworn they had subtitles. But yeah, it's super cool. Like I was saying, this is definitely a game that on repeat playthroughs you're like, wow, I missed so much. You know, that kind of way. I know that's a bit of a overused idea, you know, that happens in a lot of storytelling, but I really enjoy that kind of storytelling. It's almost writing backwards in a good way, you know. It's used a lot in video games because the nature of video game storytelling, where it doesn't happen to the end. Oh, you shall know the false shepherd by his mark. Look at that, it's like the devil. Booker holds up his hand. He is known as the false shepherd. Tyrene, good night. You can see it's very much a bustling, almost utopia. But all these people are asleep at the wheel, you know? Living in their little fucking religious fantasy. But that fantasy, that utopia, is about to change. Hello. Woohoo! Alright, time to go to the main part of the fair. And our first of many tone-deaf moments in the game.
The 1912 raffle has officially begun!
Mister!
Jeremiah Fink. This, you'll start to see the real evil face of these people. They might all look homely and fucking weirdly alien. What the hell? Oh yeah. You'll see there's a dark truth.
Sorry, no sale.
Silly. There's never a charge for the raffle. You've been sleeping under a rock?
77.
77. That's a lucky number. I'll be rooting for you.
They told him not to pick number 77.
Bowl! Is that not the prettiest young white girl in all of Columbia? All right then. The winner is number 77.
Oh, what do you know?
Over here! Over here! He's the winner!
Number 77, come and claim your prize. First throw.
See that they hide it very well. And this is what these sycophants have been doing.
It was me. It was all me. Please, please.
You've got an interracial couple, and they see it as the devil. Horrendous.
Are you gonna throw it?
But such a strange moment.
Black these days.
Just like Rapture and its weird cults.
Oh, looks like we've got a shy one.
Now you
here.
get a choice, an empty
Do
choice.
something about that.
Throw it at the couple or throw it at the announcer.
Wasting, my boy.
Something for you.
Most people will throw it at the announcer, but it doesn't matter either way, because choice is irrelevant in this game. We're on for the ride. A twisted
Don't
ride.
you know that makes you the backstabbing snake in the grass false shepherd?
And we ain't letting no false shepherd into our flock. Show them what we got planned, boys.
Boys! Oh. Now's the time, Booker. Got him! And the skyhook is ours. Bonk! Come here, bitch. Oh. Move it, move it. How's it to you? Alright, that'll keep him busy. So, I thought I possessed one guy. Bonk. Bonk. Come here, you. The game kind of shows itself as Booker seeing like, oh, like if we destroy everyone in Colombia, you know, these horrible racist people and this and that. But that's not really what they're doing at all. It becomes extremely tone deaf and basically uses someone like Daisy Fitzroy as a scapegoat for a story that is kind of ham-fisted together. Give me your gun, thanks, bitch. Alright, let's go. This turret will take care of business. Thanks, buddy. So yeah, most of us will play this game, as I did when I first came out, as someone just in the driver's seat, but not really aware of what they were doing with the story. Like I said, ludodissociative narrative. We get to the point where you just play a game, finish it. Target is immune to possession, huh?
Show me something.
That's why that other guy didn't get possessed. How's it going, lads? Nice to meet you. Bonk. Alright, let's get the Fallujahs out of here. Where'd you come from, Sonny J? The false shepherd. So quickly, Columbia at least tries to be your grave. We're still looking for Elizabeth. At the end of the day, Booker is a selfish, you know, drunken lout of a man. He's nothing to be idolized or lauded. This man is here on an extremely selfish thing, to clear away his debt. That's all he cares about. And what would he do after he clears his debt? Probably go back to drinking and gambling. He's definitely no man. But because we're in the driver's seat, you immediately sympathize with him. You have to play as him. But in my opinion, he is the villain. Jack was a victim who chose to rise above, especially the good ending, you know. He's a victim of brainwashing of his surroundings and ultimately of Andrew Ryan's, you know, God complex, that he think he could become God and manipulate people, and yeah. He was used the whole way through. Frank Fontaine, Andrew Ryan.
It's getting hot.
Atlas,
What's going on?
you name it. Booker is in charge of his facilities. Alright. Our first little fire boy. Dang. David and Goliath. Probably should have played it on higher difficulty, but it's all good. We're here to experience Devil's Kiss. Vigor number 2, just like that. I have a drink, they have a drink. That's one hell of a way to get a plasma. Devil's Kiss. They could have started with that one, but it would have been too weird in front of the lady. The twins are really interesting. They come off as very tropey nowadays, though, which is a shame. It's the reason I don't like writing characters like that. Right.
That wasn't no sample.
Oh yes. No, I agree with you. Like this, a story like this, and definitely when it comes to time travel, heaven and hell, any of that kind of stuff. That's why I always say it's best to stay away from that kind of stuff, because as time goes on, people will just pick it apart, and eventually you'll see the plot holes. You know. I think they do a good job on this for sure. As good as they can. I don't mind the Elizabeth and Booker story. Here they come. Roger, roger. Goodbye. Ooh, nice. Everything's just exploding in one hit. Maybe I'll raise the difficulty. It's a bit too easy. You only got those choices. Alright. Yeah, fuck it. Fucks up your trophies and achievements, but I don't care. I'm not here to do that. Paradise Lost. Paradise Burning. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting game to look back on, you know, with fresh eyes, new eyes, and the way the world has gone as well, you know. So I like that aspect of it. Just like every game, they're lauded as masterpieces, you know, of their time. And that's why I try not to... Like, I think even a masterpiece can be flawed, right? The Blue Ribbon. Watch out, all you meat eaters. Give me all that. Alright, so we up the difficulty a little bit. There's also a higher difficulty, which is like a hardcore mode. It's like 1912 mode? Can't remember. But yeah, they are cool. The twins are a good idea, and I like how they have multiple reveals. And like I said, that good old, call it a trope or whatever, but being able to go back and, you know, replay it and see new things is cool. Alright, so that is our intro to Colombia. I pretty much checked everything I could, you know. Go to Monument Island, find the girl. Oh yes. Oh yes. Season pass. Alright, it just did that because it's the complete edition. Alright, I wish it didn't do that, but there you go. Knocked 3 pieces of gear. Okay, okay. Holy God. Let's collect all your rewards. Calm down. Yeah, it still has that old way of doing things with the leave area. Because this game was on the 360 and PS3 at the time, yeah, I'm still sadly beholden to all those old trappings of like fucking 3 gigs of RAM and stuff like that. Alright. Look back at opening day. 1893. Much before Rapture. We're talking a good 50 years anyway. What a first weapon. Hell yeah. Skyhook is one of my favorite melee weapons. Yeah, there you go. In gaming in general, nice. What did you feel like? What did you think of the Skyhook as a traversal? It was cool. Stands up to foes. So this is all his version of the events. The victory of Wounded Knee. You can see they villainize pretty much every other minority the whole way through. Talking about the Chinese boxers there, and you've got Wounded Knee, everyone. It's kind of hard to like talk too much about it without giving the entire story away. But let's put it like this: you can clearly see that Comstock himself was an extreme, like, racist. You know, he was a product of his time, but he's a horrible person. You know, and so was Booker. You might think they're it's like a product of their time because that's the way it was back then. But is it much different these days? People are just fucking the anonymous factor. The internet, they just fucking think they get away with it that way, but they're still as bad as they ever were.
We do indeed.
Well.
We were already here.
Why are you following us?
Aperitif.
I love their music. So you can see we have all these little fucking infusions which help with salt, health. Then we have the gear, which is our little upgrades. Gear, special clothing, yes. Ghost soldier, alright. 7% chance to cost the enemy with the gun to become a ghostly ally. Electric punts. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Eagle strike. Skylines, that one's really good as well. Clip size, that one's good as well. They're all very good. I think we're allowed 3, are we, right? Causing them to explode. Damage against handyman.
You'll find that handy.
The difference between life and death.
Alright, what we go for? Kind of like mostly everything here. Clip size is nice. Electric punch is nice. Why can't I have punts? Bump, bump. Weapon damage. Bump, bump. I think you don't normally get the pick 3, that's for sure. We'll go for the handyman one. They are such a bullet sponge. There, bitch. Alright. Health, shield, and assault. Can't remember which is the best. The thing is, like, shield can be replenished. So can health, obviously, but shield replenishes on its own versus health.
Feel better already.
Do you get to grab all these? Quick gear show comparison. No. Bump, bump. Here we go. Let's have a look. See, yes. Yes. Carbine, volley gun, hand cannon. How small was this? Always this small? Guess it was. I guess it was. Yes, definitely a shitload of guns in the game. All very interchangeable, though, honestly. And then many plasmids. There's a couple that are in the DLC as well. I think they're DLC exclusive. All right. Nice. Let's get some bloody shields in here. This is gonna end up really pushing, making the game a little bit too easy, I think. Sometimes that's what happens. Thank you. With these collector's editions and complete editions and all that. It was meant as like pre-order bonus a lot of the times, but when you play the complete versions, you're like, well damn, make it easier, why don't you? Alright. Elizabeth's the more interesting character in the game, especially with her powers. Yeah, that's true. They definitely did a good job giving her something a little bit special. Thank you.
What was that?
Surprising.
Surprising that it worked?
Surprising that it didn't kill him.
But a magnetic repulsive field around one's body.
Surprising I don't kill you.
If it doesn't kill you.
A little bit of an accordion as well. Yeah, Elizabeth is cool. And then as a character herself, I think she's fantastic. I think they knew what they had on their hands, and just wonderfully played by Courtney, of course. I actually think Elizabeth at times can shine better than Ellie from Last of Us.
Called on me today to write his biograph. Me. The man pays for exactly 100 pages in advance. Now, I'm half a Jew when I smell silver, so I say, Father, your flock would pay for 1,000. You know, why settle for less?
Quincy, hello. Thank you for the follow. How you doing?
Looks to me.
Hope you're having a good one. Playing a little bit of Bioshock Infinite.
100 will suffice.
Yeah, you take them all.
As I know how it ends.
Switch them out. Take them all. Take them all. Then we have like space for a fourth. But yeah, I think certain ones go in certain places, huh? We can interchange them around. Anything else? This guy has got to be dead. He's got to be dead. So I think once they knew they had such a wonderful character on their hands, by the time we got to Burial at Sea, she'd become more than herself, and I think they misinterpreted her writing then at that point. It's almost like a deity then as well. Also, Elizabeth, as you can imagine, went through numerous, fucking countless different design changes, and you know, this was circa 2013, right? So video games were a little bit different. We were still very much every lady's gotta be big boobies. So Elizabeth went through many different iterations of corsets and stuff, and it didn't matter how much they kind of pushed back on that and end up creating more of an innocence with her, which I think made more sense as someone who's spent their whole life locked in a tower. It didn't stop, you know, the fandoms and the Rule 34s, of course. Good lord, it's everywhere. So now Booker is enemy number 1 in the city of, you can already hear the songbird around a little bit. The city of Columbia. Watch yourself. Away we go!
Whoa! Damn hook must be magnetized.
Our first little look. Hello, hello. Skyline attack. Bonk! That shit's just fun. Alright. Time for another new gun. Will this circle be unbroken? By and by, Lord. By and by. Well, I didn't search the corpse. Come here. It's got nothing on him. Alright. Can play this a little bit sneaky. Can play a little bit crazy. Bump! Trash! I nearly prefer the Luger. Alright. I turned the diffley up. Yeah, I played this on like 360 and stuff, you know. It was the way to play things back then. Good job. Now die. Possession doesn't last that long at the start, so you do find yourself getting rocked. Was this originally PS3? Yeah, PS3 and Xbox 360, you're dead right. Which is crazy, right? But it was right on the turn of the generation, 2013. R34 game is huge. People really loved Elizabeth. They did, and they loved doing some horrific things to her. Good lord. Dirty internet. Come on, you coppers. Hello. Used to weren't afraid to have some female enemies. But here's a kind of a controversial take, but I always find that whenever movies, books, games, whatever you've got someone who you know, comes from a place of privilege, writes a story about racism and stuff, it always feels extremely tone deaf. It's honestly strange. I feel like they do it as a way to allow themselves to basically write racist characters. It's some kind of wish-fulfilling fantasy kind of thing. This game definitely feels like that. I feel like I could say the same about Django Unchained, right? It's one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies, but it's such an odd movie in terms of the excessive amount of slurs used and things like that, you know? I get that it's different times and all that, but it's so strange to me. I think the only time an excuse like, oh, that's the way things were back then, works is if it was back then, you know? To use that excuse on modern storytelling is, you know, you're just furthering the same horrific narrative that people have put up with. It's just strange to me, you know? You can tell the same story without furthering the fucking popularity of these terms and just the general racism that's already around in the air, you know? I know, the whole thing is very strange. Like I said, it's one of those topics hard to talk about because I come from a very privileged, you know, I'm your basic fucking white Irish dude. What the hell do I know about any of that kind of stuff, you know? You can't play this game and not talk about it, you know? To do so would be turning a blind eye, and we've done enough of that over the course of history, you know? I know, just things like that just come off really odd to me, that's all. That's all. It's just weird that, you know, after hundreds if not thousands of years, we still haven't changed much in that case, you know. I wish there was like a button you could press on the back of somebody's head and make them realize that we all live in the same planet, we're all human. Just silly bastards. It's just far too much hate, generational, systemic hate, and I hate it so much. These people, we've tried everything, you know, you can't get rid of them. Can't get rid of them. And it just moves on to something else now, you know. Hate will always exist because it's in people's fucking heart, and I hate it.
Otis works up at the lodge part-time. He took this box from one of their secret ceremonies. And I know for sure.
Find the key.
There is something dear inside.
Yeah, PS3 for sure. Code number 335. What's the worst nightmare you guys had? Titties.
Open the damn thing.
Just giant titties trying to smother you. Best dream or worst dream? What's cool is with the powers you have these. Probably can't see now, can you? Son of a. No, you can. Okay, you got these little kind of segments, and that is how each power. Whoa! Hello. I won't hurt you. Just standing there silently. Yeah, every time you use your power, that's the segment it's going to use. But when you change powers, you can see we have like 2 and a bit for possession, whereas we like have 5 for Devil's Kiss. So you can kind of use up your salt accordingly. Yeah, like look at the stories coming out and the horrible tragedies that happen in America, and as usual, people can't see the forest from the trees and are immediately trying to blame, you know, this minority, that minority, trans people, you name it. It's so silly. Instead of the one constant that's been happening the whole time, which is guns. Massive amount of guns, shotguns, automatic rifles, you name it. And then the other option, like I've seen what they're doing now is, well, that's a weird little shadowy bug there, where they've added bulletproof rooms to schools, where the teachers have to like pull out this thing and it creates a bulletproof room out of the corner of each classroom. I mean, it's ridiculous. Or training teachers how to use guns in the event. Like, it's so stupid. The whole thing's so stupid. Alright, where do we come from? We come from up here? Up here? I think the world's going mad. One little bit at a time. You gotta hold on to your faculties and look after yourself and your loved ones. That's all you can do these days. Hello, sir. Can we talk to this guy, no? I could have sworn there was something. Maybe I'm thinking of later on. Is there a way of a couple that you talk to? Yeah, good old Max Payne. Max Payne 1 and 2 I think are getting remade, but it's going to take a long while. They're working on Control 2 now, obviously. I don't think 2 will be out this year, and Control 2. But they actually put out a massive like timeline of where they are with their games. I thought that was really cool. Good on them. Anyone else alive out there? So yeah, we're pretty much into the knee deep of the game's combat already, and it's only been the first couple of encounters. We've got the skyhooks. We've got the melee combat. Not every situation needs to be a fight. Oh, this is the one, yeah.
How they treat them. It was bound to happen.
Violet?
Hello? I won't hurt you.
The one they're after. Go. They're looking for you.
Thank you.
Police, we're in need of your assistance.
Oh, as you can see, these were doing like anti-propaganda. Almost like pirate radio at the time. But now they're harboring a fugitive. Sorry you gotta go through this. You guys should hide.
Alright, let's move on.
Uh-oh. That was close. Thank you. Thank you for your safe harbor. I hope you won't pay for it. Yeah, sometimes you'll catch the character models that look, oh, they don't look that bad, you know? And then you catch them again and it's like, why have you a bigger head than the rest of your body? You know how much that's gonna hurt poor old Hostanabe? You can see they've even got a little bit of a safe haven for people who are being victimized in the city. Long before Booker ever came here. The founding fathers. Me arse. So just like with the booze and cigarettes in Bioshock 1, depending on what you drink or eat, it will have effect on your health and salts and all that. So putting the salts down there was a little bit different of an idea than having your health and shield up above. But honestly, like most things with the hand-eye coordination, you're very rarely looking there anyway, only when you're running out, you know. You'll have visual cues on screen when your shield breaks and all that good stuff. So it doesn't matter too much. A circus of value. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Show yourself.
Inside! Inside!
Headshots for days. Whee! Who got me? Oh, you little shites. That turret is doing me nasty. I need a little bit more salt.
A sacrifice for sins.
To fall prey to his machinations? Or will you act? Act for your women folk. Act for your moment.
Fuck you. I wanted to possess him, but I didn't have enough salt. Alright. The little horsies, huh? Lovely. The date in those quotes are really 1.5 years. I know, right? The time is gone. I look back at some of those quotes and I'm like, dear God. Yeah, so the plan going forward, I'm not going to move away from Twitch or anything, but I was thinking of doing some cheeky streams on Kick at the weekends, just the weekends. How's it going, Bernie? What nice trees. What nice weather we're having. I need you guys to figure out, is Bernie a boss? Come on, we need to figure this out. What nice trees we're having. Hope you're doing well today, Burns. I think we're pretty stocked up on everything. Nice little fight there. They're not afraid to throw a lot of enemies at you. But I don't think the combat ever rises above Bioshock 1. It's almost there. Alright, run away now. Run away. Get a little guitar. That'll come into play later. Probably one of the most beautiful moments in the game, for sure. You think all these games kind of took a nod from each other, but a lot of them actually end up coming out the same year as each other. Then you ask the question, it's like, okay, it's just beautiful timing. Hello? Where'd that turret go? You little shy. I like how the way they have the sandbags on it, like just left over. The poor horsies. Huh? Actually, pretty creepily realistic for 1912. Yeah, just like Bioshock, once that kind of lovely moment at the start is done, makes you sad because you can never really go back. The Serpent of Nations. Look at this, of course they're all minorities. Silly old Comstock. Not just bad with the brainwashing with the religious stuff, but his own racist, prejudiced point of view that he used to brainwash people with. Of course, once someone has been deified, or idolized, everyone follows like the good little sheep they are to the lambs to slaughter. And things are no different now. The Order of the Raven. This is where we're going to get our Murder of Crows. And it wouldn't be a Bioshock. And it wouldn't be an Inner Look, a dare take on society, if there wasn't strange cults. We had the Saturnine in Bioshock. And a nice little chance at weird Illuminati. And a little bit of horror. People definitely loved their crows a little bit too much. John Wilkes Booth, he was like famous for shooting Abraham Lincoln. Or at least that's what they say, right? Yeah. 3 years and 2. Goddamn. Hello. The possession doesn't work as well as it should, huh? Maybe it doesn't work on people. Alright, more Comstock propaganda.
And when the Angel Columbia gave unto the founders the tools to build a new Eden, they did so without hesitation. For 85 years they prepared the way of the Lord. But when the great apostate came, he brought war with him, and the fields of Eden were soaked with the blood of brothers. The only emancipation he had to offer was death.
He sees this place as his new Eden. If that ain't a representation of fucking Rapture all over again, I don't know what is. That guy would give you 80% of health, just like that. Just like that. Yeah, I think I'm drinking too much booze. Booze. Oh yeah, baby. Or rather, grenades accident. Always. I'm still doing it. I think I even did it in Resident Evil 4. It'll always be the accidental grenades. Fortnite was fun yesterday. I think what we're doing now is we're getting like that synergy as a team, you know. So nearly every time we play now, it's just hyper aggressive, and I like that. I like that a lot. I think we were getting like rounds there with 20 bombs. Like, holy hell, 20 kills between us. That's huge. Think about that. That's like a quarter, a fifth of the entire lobby down to us, you know. But I actually really like Murder of Crows. It's basically the bees from Bioshock, you know, which for most of us would agree these kind of powers are wholly meant as distractionary bases, you know. It's like they're not going to kill enemies, they're going to distract them.
The prophet led us into Peking, where we demonstrated to the solemn
There's a cult if I ever saw one.
mission our founders had given us. And when the mandarins and hypocrites of Washington betrayed him, our prophet did not heal. He did not come crawling for their forgiveness.
About time you shut the hell up. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go. Come on out, lads. A fantastic movie that kind of shows a representation of, you know, old America, but also a really well told different version of Homer's Odyssey is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I definitely urge everyone to give that one a watch. It's free on YouTube. Goodbye! I like when the shield breaks. It feels like getting your clock wrong, you know? Damn, someone's got a really good shot down there. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. I'd want to believe like the new Bioshock has probably been done by a lot of people from 2K Marin that did Bioshock 2. Bioshock 2 didn't get a lot of love because, you know, it's just like Arkham Origins. It was stepped over pretty much because they saw it as, oh, it's not being done by the main team, you know. But ask anyone who's played Bioshock 2 and anyone who's played Arkham Origins. These games not only stand the test of time, but actually, you know, do a great job at furthering the games that they came from, you know. Arkham Origins creates an even better lore surrounding most of those bosses, maybe even more so than Rocksteady has done. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Alright. And Bioshock 2, I think, adds an extremely great amount of depth to Rapture without ever treading on Andrew Ryan or anything like that, you know.
Was the great emancipator emancipating the Negro from
I feel like Bioshock Infinite, I feel like Ken had to move away from everything. He didn't want to go back to Rapture at that point because enough had been done, maybe. Alright.
Go to Victor and you shall find out. No animal is born free, except the white man.
But then he went back during Burial at Sea, and whether intentionally or not, tried to create, you know, the circle, the loop in some smart way, but actually ended up treading on stuff, you know, and that wasn't good. Ended up making Elizabeth, you know, the linchpin for Jack and things like that, and also really just shitting on what was already a badly told story in Daisy Fitzroy. Made it even worse, if that's even possible. In my eyes, it was unfortunate. Like, I liked the concept of Burial at Sea. See that the way it went dark and bright again? But for the love of all things holy, it wouldn't have hurt if we just left it well enough. Damn, this guy doesn't want to die. Holy hell. That's pretty cool. How's it going, lads? So you gotta play these games like a madman possessed. When I went back and played Watch Dogs, which I know we all would agree that is painfully average, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed every goddamn minute of it because I played it like John Wick.
Comstock came by the wagon at dawn. Man was just transfixed by my trophy scalps. Asked about the white ones there. I said, well, sir, if your quarry dwells in the jungle and beds down with the local color, why split hairs? Not a chuckle out of him. Either he ain't seen a man go native, or maybe too many. Anyhow, now it's got me hunting down this Daisy Fitzroy.
Wait, where was it? Was it upset? No, it's further back here.
Stuff in Mount her.
You start to see some of Comstock's little hired assassins and things like that. They'll have their due. Alright, cheeky little infusion. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it's hard to know. I think most people would go shields first, then health. But the nature of it, yes, the shields comes back, and it comes back pretty quick too. But if you have that little health, your shield ain't worth a damn, you know. I still think you need a strong foundation. Alright. You could call them side quests, but these games are pretty linear. See, it's things like that, seeing, you know, all y'all's follow ages and things like that. That's what really makes me want to try and give back. Like, if you think about it, that's a hell of a long time. And especially these days, right? That was over the course of COVID and everything, like, just fucking surviving a pandemic and everything else that's going on in the world. Damn near lucky to be here, you know? Crime Boss Rocket, yeah! I was supposed to come out today, but it's only on Epic, which is very stupid. I wanted to get it. I think it's like $30 or something. It's one with Michael Madsen. I'll have to look into it more, because they basically just removed it from the PlayStation and Xbox store. I think maybe because it's getting like 4s and 5s in the reviews. But that's exactly what I was expecting. This is a game with you just pay the celebrities and the gameplay is, yeah, like you said, it's meant to be like Payday 2 and GTA. Alright. Let us get us a murder of crows. There has been a murder. What do you guys think of crows? Crows and ravens iconically have always been linked to death. Most of the time it's because they're scavengers, honestly, but you know, is there a deeper pagan meaning behind it all? That's up to you. Probably more Norse than pagan, actually, but I mean, like we've said before, all of these mythologies are intertwined. Everybody copied each other's homework. Norse, Egyptian, Roman, Greek, name it. They all fucking copied each other. Ah. Look at that, blaming us. Shooting into civilians. We didn't have a gun first. No. So you can see that the anti-Booker message is out there, the propaganda. Make sure and control the message every step of the way. Even though the irony later on when you find out what's happening right now is quite interesting. But it brings into, like everything else, it brings into question whenever you mess with parallel universes and time and all that. Brings into the question of paradoxes. Should they exist? Can they exist? Or is it all just fucking fodder for somebody's story, you know? Hello there. Dollar Bill here. I'll give you a bit of pistol ammo. I think we're all good to go. You've that many salts and stuff, you really shouldn't run out. Let's see a little more this cult. Cult of the Raven. Ready to sit around like the UN. These guys seem to be messing with their own types of propaganda. There's a couple of little graphical glitches. Yeah, it's got to do with the lighting engine. The guys who made this collection, Blind Squirrel, not so well known for doing the best of ports, sadly. But there you go. They've done some good stuff. It's the nature of the beast, I think. But these are definitely still the best way to play the game, because the PC versions are all but left to die, which is super sad. Maybe before Bioshock Isolation comes out, we'll do something else with them.
Sweet mother of Columbia, why do we worship 3 symbols in your memory?
These guys are pretty much like white supremacists kind of
so
thing.
that we might avenge you.
Yeah.
We worship the raven so that we might cover the city with eyes.
Open up.
We worship the coffin because it symbolizes the weight of our faith.
The first zealot. You see where they were fucking capturing people back here, torturing them. I think, isn't most of the gear randomized, or is it? Maybe some of it. Professor Frank. With the kind of propaganda and religious bullshit dogma that Comstock has been pushing out, all, you know, thinly veiled under racism and prejudice against any minority that ever did him wrong. You can see how things like these kind of white supremacist cults, you know, we see them as the murder of crows, and we're like, this is cool, we get this power, and diddle-diddle. But it's all, like I said, once again, thinly veiled version of racism. You're all fools. I'll head to bed. Have a funny. Cheers, Amid. Thank you for hanging out, dude. Appreciate you. Probably do the same myself. I'll probably keep it to like earlier. Let me switch off because I do end up streaming for way too late. It's like Jesus. Even I feel it. Like I felt like rotten after last night. It's probably why I kind of hopped off stream so late. Wasn't meant as anything bad. It was just more of a like, yeah, I'm hungry. Testy. I shouldn't let that happen. Let's see, 150 for a real pet canary bird. Really? Seems very expensive. I think you can get most canaries for cheaper than that. Oh yes. There's our first, I'd say first little boss. It's cheap for, you think so? Damn. I suppose if it's a genuine canary, huh? The Murder of Crows. It's called Murder of Crows because that's literally what a bunch of crows are called, you know, like a flock of geese. But it has that beautiful double meaning, and we're in the middle of a nice little bird cage. But these are not birds inside those cages. Alright, an explosive trap. This guy likes to charge you, so they definitely urge you to do some cheeky little traps. Yeah, that was easy. Did I really turn the difficulty up?
What's this? Some new kind of vigor?
Yes, it is. A Vigor. The Murder of Crows, one of my favorites. Just, and if you upgrade this enough, it actually does do a little bit of damage. It's a good little finisher. Oh, look at that. And in terms of like plasmids and vigors and all that, it actually does have something new, you know. So I'll give them that. Things like Return to Sender is cool as well. Alright. This was also the power that they showed off that I think maybe if you hold L1 you can go through them. Yeah. The one that they showed off in the trailer that people were like, wow, you know. Get them! Yes. And while they're being feasted on, you can pretty much, let's see, so how do we do this again? Was it like move this one over to that? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we're uber powerful already. Let me double check. Is it on hard? It's on hard. Okay. Everything's dying in like 1 or 2 hits. Just a really easy game, I guess. Maybe I've just played it so many times. But actually, no, this is the game I have the least amount of playthroughs with. Like, I'll be dead honest. I'd say less than half a dozen times, you know? Maybe 3 or 4. Whereas Bioshock 1 and 2, I will play yearly. There's certain games that's just it for me. I'll play them yearly. Yeah, this is another game just like Last of Us and a lot of others. They talk about the idea behind, what is it, the ludodissonant narrative, where you've got this horrible killing spree that's going on in front of your eyes. You're literally doing horrible, heinous stuff, and then, you know, you're just bang bang because it's a game, you know. And it's just a sign of where we are as people, I think, you know. Let's see, electric punch. Why do I say punts every time? Punts! Okay. Try guess. I'm happy with what I got. They were trying to fix it with some vigors. I can get a bird. I have a cat. Nice. What's your cat's name? Saw a bird for 900. Wow. Yeah, Jesus. God, things are expensive. Along with their cage, and yeah, that's not so bad if you got the cage as well. I've never owned a bird, but we have many robins and things like that. Wild birds just kind of hanging out. What's their upkeep, like, you know what I mean? Are they stinky? Are they hard clean? Like, do you have to clean them themselves, or do they clean them themselves? Yes, yes.
With a missing left eye, no more than 4 foot and 9 inches.
But yeah, it's definitely my least favorite of the bunch. But it's far from a bad game. I just think that you know, I think it, yeah, like it's the nicest way of putting it, right? We said it already, but it bit off more than it could chew in terms of story. Gameplay wise, it's a nice evolution of Bioshock. Does it hit as home as hard as Bioshock? No, even with gameplay. I get it, like, everybody really loves the Big Daddies, myself included, but it's the whole idea of a city gone to hell, you know? In this case, like, you know, if you think about it, Rapture is a sign of, like, fucking playing God, you know? All this, the zombies we created from messing in our DNA, the splicers, right? So you are killing the citizens of Rapture. Whether you like it or not, they've gone mad, you know? This is a true downfall of society. In this case, it's Colombia's own government, its own leadership. So it's basically man versus cops, you know? And then later on, Vox Populi and so on and so on. It's the madness that Comstock creates. But you're not killing civilians or anything. They're all hiding in their house, completely and utterly brainwashed and convinced that you, Booker, are the bad guy. They're not entirely wrong either. I mean, he is, you know, it's doing that old Nathan Drake thing where you're like, we're killing hundreds of people?
What color were his eyes?
I look at the little nails and weird stuff. All of the Vigors are very cool.
Squinty.
Squint.
You recall his hair color?
It was red and curly. He looked Irish to me.
Irish to me, so yeah, cheeky little nod to the way the Irish were treated back then. Obviously, we were far from a minority, but after the famine that was pushed upon us, we spread to the 4 corners of the world and helped really build a lot of countries. You know, we were the workforce for a lot of things, like a lot of skyscrapers of America, the Great American Railroad. We helped a lot, but we were treated like lower class, you know.
Suspicious individuals.
Yes. Fucking idiots. You don't even know. Hello! Hello there. Just walking around with a gun in his hand. No problem. Skibidi-bop-bop-ba. Right. Ain't it? You think they'd just come after you, but that's just the way it is. It's like, what do they call that kind of stuff? It's like, fucking perceived stealth. That's what I like to call it, these stealth mechanics. But yeah, it seems like everybody's now pulled out of E3. I don't think we're going to get E3 at all, in the sense of, it's sad to see it go, but this is what happens with greed, you know? The board, the ESA as they're known, should have nothing got to do with gaming ever again, and I hope so. It's just a simple, stupid little board that has no clue what we as players want, and they're just amazing amount of greeds has led to the downfall of E3. Headshot, baby. So what's going to happen is it's just going to be all digital like it was the last couple of years. And honestly, each one of the big developers are completely happy with that. They don't want, because like to get a booth and, you know, be on stage and all that at E3, it was costing them upwards of 20 million, you know, depending on how big. I think Xbox will still do their show at Staples, the Staples Center and all that. That's always been removed from E3 anyway. Devolver Digital will do their own thing. Sony will have some kind of future state of play or whatever the fuck they do. But it is what it is. It's sad because I wanted to go to E3 one day, but honestly, if it cuts down on expenses and allows us to get more shows throughout the year, you know, then so be it. It's Christmas for video game lovers, but it's not. It's just going to change in a sense. But we've proven the last 2 years that sitting down and having these 45-minute, an hour and a half shows digitally while we stream them really doesn't make that much of a difference. It's just if you ever wanted to go with yourself, right? Your first ever pet was a hedgehog. Oh, we still have a few little hedgehogs that actually they end up eating like the cat food and stuff. They're cute. They're such lovable little guys. Then 3 rabbits and a cat. Nice. So you've had a lot of pets. Really cool. What was the most exotic kind of pet you had? The most unusual? I suppose a hedgehog. Having a domesticated hedgehog is not that easy to do. It's really cool. Yeah, we have a lot of little wild ones, and they'll come through the yard and eat the cat food and dog food and all that. They're really cute. You catch them on the camera. Their big little nose going like this. Birds take a lot of upkeep. They can smell like you can tell when a house has a bird smell. Really? I don't know what that would smell like. That's nice though. I hear they're very good for like stress and all that, you know. Columbia's greatest mind is insane. Yeah, so the Lutesses, they definitely they had Columbia in the palm of their hand. Some would even consider them higher up even than Comstock. Dollar bills, y'all. So now we can... Oh, look at the fucking price of that. Is that right? Is that real? I suppose it is. Adds mini clusters, great area of effect. Oh, look, here we go. Possessed humans. Yeah, that's what I was missing. Should have got that. And they... See, like it says, they suicide afterwards. Pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up. Basically, they'll like jump off the edge and stuff. Alright, so we need anything else here? No. Got a machine gun. Machine gun is your good old spray and pray gun, you know, it's kind of cool. Nice, they're all gold just because of the nature of the complete edition. If you have the Bioshock collection, you'll get all those lovely DLCs. And the DLCs for most of the games are worth it. Sure. Burial at Sea is messy, but fun. It has some stealth sections, you get to play as Elizabeth for a bit. And then Minerva's Den and stuff for Bioshock 2 is amazing. Hello. Get him! I love how you can see the little maiden that possesses them. It's kind of creepy.
Cut off your head. Close in on him.
Once you get a handle on everything. Don't let him aim. I love the noise when you get headshots and stuff. Good. Good shit. On the good shit. Lollipop. The accuracy you have is crazy, right? Bonk. This guy just died by himself. Just fell over, I think. Come on. Kind of dynamic music in a way, right? Call this chat group of cybers we have going. I don't know. Everyone has to have a name, right? And then that name ends up being like brought back, like when there's a controversy. It's like, whoops. Like Mids Kids is a bad name too. And the Juicers, XQC's Juicers, ew. That's like a running joke now because they're all like 7 years old when they meet them outside. It's the youngest Juicer. Oh, I just keep thinking of hedgehogs now. It's so sweet. Chinchillas seem good. Think I'll get one of those next time. Yeah, you have to get like a little dust pile for them. A dust bat. That's it. Dust bat. Super cute. They're you know in the family of mice and stuff, right? So if you had a mouse before, you'd probably be pretty close. There's one thing, you know, when you're growing up, you're taught how to take care of your pets, right? And it becomes like that kind of daily upkeep and chore, and teaches you responsibility in that. And you have fun, you know. Yeah, you don't always get it right the first time, but you're having fun and learning how to appreciate and treat animals properly, you know. And thus would help you, hopefully, treat humans properly as well, you know. But then when you get older, thanks to social media and that, you start to realize that there's some people out there that are horrendously judgmental, and God forbid you ever post a single picture of any animal you've ever owned, because the brigade just comes out in force as if they've never made a mistake in their life. There's been so many like YouTubers and people who just be like, hey, I got this animal, this, that, and they're immediately like destroying them because, you know, either they went with like something like PetSmart or whatever, just giving the wrong advice, this and that. And it's gonna happen, you know. In all honesty, like, these people are fools, because if you were to really break it down, we shouldn't really own any animal at all, right? Because we've just domesticated and ruined so many animals. If you want to look at it like that, but that's foolishness, because most of us will add a good bit to an animal's life, right? You know, an animal will add so much, give themselves wholeheartedly to you, and you want to hope that you do the same to them, right? Like, there's always, this is like just a constant thing that goes on in the dog community, but the idea behind certain breeds of dogs, right, you know, that have been clearly bred to fight and kill, and are still kind of around, and they're still, you know, going back, no matter how domesticated they are, their instinct kicks in, and this stuff happens, and that stuff happens, and it always begs the question, should we have ever domesticated dogs at all, you know? Alright, our first little sky rail.
Sorry to say that Monument Island is off limits.
Power.
You've got to go. Workmen should proceed to the island by means of the skyline.
I'll do what I want.
Skylines, huh? Those things them coppers came riding in on back by the lottery.
This is where the real roller coaster of Bioshock Infinite's movement and combat
that line
begins.
Monument Island.
Yeah! Nice. You get to reverse it, strike, dismount, keep on target, proper. Who did that? I was enjoying myself. He exploded.
He seeks the lamb and hastens to her tower even now. His intent is ruin.
What were you guys up to in here, huh? I've been playing so much Switch. The controls are all over the place.
Nice.
Lovely. Wanted a chinchilla. Yeah! Seemed good. I've had birds, hamsters, dogs, cats, guinea pigs, a lizard, most of which sold by my family because the appeal wore off. For them, the only reason I still have my lizard because I was the one to save her. Jesus, I'm so sorry. God damn it. There's not an aspect of your life that hasn't been interfered with from your family. I'm so sorry. Jesus. Like, we've all been there with the old goldfish that got flushed down the toilet, right? You know? It goes off to heaven, you know. And I've had to give away some dogs myself, but I've given them away to families. You know what I mean? Never to like a pound or a vet or anything. You know they're going to be euthanized, maybe rehoused if you're lucky, or rehomed even. But most of the time they're euthanized. Hello. Is there anything more satisfying than that? Combat didn't even have a chance. But yeah, this game is quite linear, but it does have sneaky little areas, you know. Exploration, light, you know. You saw how we found that little cheeky infusion there, you know. So don't be afraid to have a look around. There are some goodies. Wouldn't say as explorative.
And the Lord saw the wickedness of man was great.
Cool.
And he repented he had made man on the earth. Rain. 40 days and 40 nights of the stuff. And he left not a thing that walked alive. You see, my friends, even God is entitled to a do-over. And what is Columbia if not another ark?
Oh, Lord.
For another time.
Here come the coppers. Probably should have waited. Bit of a long-range melee there. Me there. Murder of crows. You okay, sir? Crows are very bitey.
Skyline up above. Somehow get some elevation, I could probably reach it.
You've had a nice few pets too as well. Like, that's lovely. Oh, and I can tell, like, hearing you speak about them, even for a second, you can see how much love and how important they are to you, you know? And I think that's so important to a child to have a friend in a pet, you know? They're part of the animal. And as a teenager as well, just someone to share your thoughts with and comfort you.
See what happens?
Where's your head at? Welcome back to the exploding head, people. Nice. Oh, that's coat of arms. I read that too fast. And that one's actually pretty good. Let me see. Extra. Still feels just a little bit loud. Hope it's not too bad for you guys. Let me know. There we go. Coat of arms. There you go. Enemies become easier to melee execute. Ah, they're pretty easy enough as it is. We're good to go. So you can see what's happening here. They're starting to loot anyone who dares. Not even just aid Booker. At this point, it's an excuse to loot. Good night. Use the skyhook for some nice gratuitous violence. Yeah, gory goodness. It's just the way games were back then as well, huh? Ah, they're still as violent as ever. It's up to you whether you can differentiate reality from all the violence. Alright. Where to? Monument Island. Right there. Who dares?
Stand down. Stand down.
Creepy.
With flaming sword and the wings of angels.
So you hear Comstock speaking to them.
Father Washington, hear my prayer.
They immediately stop. That was Comstock's real voice, not the one we hear in the voxophones. You can tell it already has immense power. Stand down. Time to have an old confrontation. Is this not creepy as fuck? This is some serious cult shit. Hello, Comstock.
False shepherd. I see every sin that blackens your soul.
Is it an echo or something else?
The drinking, the gambling.
That Pinkerton.
Of course. Anna.
Pinkertons were FBI before FBI.
To repay a debt, you've come for my land. But not all debts can be repaid, Booker.
You don't know me, pal.
Prophecy is my business, Mr. DeWitt. As blood is yours. Do you know why these men will die for me?
Comstock's
Because I've seen
airship.
their future in the glory, and hence they are content. What brought you to Columbia, Booker? Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt?
How does he know so much?
This will end in blood, DeWitt. But then again, it always does with you, doesn't it? It always ends in blood.
There's the blood on
Come
it.
to lead my lamb astray, but thy crook is bent and thy path is twisted. Go back to the Sodom from which you came.
Sodom below. It's a clever use of a lot of crazy religious shit back then. For sure. For now, they all worship. I can even steal their guns. And let's see, 2 pearl scale fish. One of them ate the other because they were both males. Oh, is that what they do? Definitely had a few fish eat each other. A few cats and dogs eat each other as well. Oh, that's what those are, I wonder what those were called. They have like the little bulbous. Cute. Yeah, fish are crazy like that, right? I think they're the hardest, one of the hardest anyway. Pets to have. You know, you can have your common little goldfish, it is what it is, but as soon as you get beyond that, you have to get like temperatures right, living conditions, everything. It's been a busy little boy, haven't you, old Comstock? Alley-oop.
Death to you!
Huh? Murder of nothing there.
Find the controls to take this thing to Monument Island.
Our first true encounter with Father Comstock there. Very strange, very ghostly. The echoes, the blood, the headaches from Booker. All shall be revealed in good time. Oh yes. Will the circle go unbroken?
It's okay.
It's creepy, isn't it?
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Religious fucking steampunk.
Okay. You sure I can get this thing going?
The Lord forgives everything. But I'm just a prophet.
There he is.
So I don't have to.
But is it really him?
Amen.
Amen.
Oh shit. Immolation. The things they do for Comstock. Just like that. He's left us with no other option but to jump. What a madman.
That was close.
Never really get to see this thing go down. I'm gonna chill for a second and watch it go down. Well, that's gonna end up crashing somewhere in the Atlantic or in America or something. It's always over the Atlantic. Ken Levine doesn't like the Atlantic or something. Rapture was in the middle of the Atlantic. Columbia's like off the coast of Maine, but really pushing into the Atlantic as well. I suppose the way he sees it gives you enough room not to mess with any landmarks and stuff. Nice. Into Monument Island we go to meet our fair femme fatale. You shoot them, they won't disobey his command. Yeah, Super Animal Royal game is up to season 7. Wow. Wow. Yeah, so they're going to take Multiverses offline and launch it next year, which I think is a good idea. Maybe not taking it offline, but it's a good idea to kind of take a bit of time. Maybe it's the best. Let them do a full launch. I think it still has potential. You just really need to come hard with the... I know, like, Smash, you know, their main competitor, has, like, many years of content pushed into it, right? So it's hard. You can't just come out with 50 characters straight away.
Monument Island.
Find the girl. Wipe away the debt. You know, this was a time when using these kind of huge sayings, you know, almost like taglines for an entire game. It was huge at the time. It's used a lot, like in stories over the years. Like so many games and movies and you name it. It's really cleverly done, especially if it's something that they can reuse. You know, your would, your kindlies. But even like thinking like TV, like look, Save the Cheerleader, Save the World, things like that. Like they would absolutely prop games and movies and everything on these taglines, and then subvert what we think about when we just say those lines. You know. So this is where Elizabeth is kept, the seed of the prophet, locked away. Like I said, like you know, an old Brothers Grimm tale, not necessarily Disney princess, but Brothers Grimm, when they would actually do this kind of stuff. It's quite beautiful, but you gotta understand, this is a prison. Just might have all the trimmings of a utopia. Of course, she had a couple of guards as well.
I guess even in a restricted area, these crackers need someone to clean the floors. Those
Specimen is dangerous,
don't
see?
bother about what they say around me, because I'm some half-leaded colored boy. But I can tell they scared out of their wits by that thing they got locked upstairs. Yes, sir. They got a tiger by the tail, and they don't know whether to hang on
Sherlock Holmes, The
or
Awakened.
run.
Was that a new chapter? So yeah, they definitely put a lot of fear into it. Like from the outside, you have this beautiful statue, and she's the seed of the prophet, wonderful, oh, blah, 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 blah. And it's almost mythical, you know? When you get here, you see that this now is extremely reminiscent of Bioshock. Experimentation, weird kind of playing God. Yep. She's been monitored every moment of her life. Poor Elizabeth. There's no princess in the tower after all. There's a princess in a prison. And you're just constantly reminded of the steampunk aesthetic. I like it as well. Same with Bioshock. Biopunk. Steampunk. Trench pouch. Siphon passive. Now siphon, we know what that means, right? To take something from something else. What the hell are they taking from her? Age 4 companion. Turned it from brown to red. Huh. At first glance you're like, what the hell? It doesn't really do anything. A poetry book at age 11. Just seems like a simple color change. And they made it that way on purpose. What actually is going on under the surface is something far more unique. Specimen dangerous. They're so good at like leading you to areas, like they're very good visual storytelling.
They've been watching her
the whole time, almost creepily so. Big Brother is watching. In this case, Big Father. Lockpick attempts. Oh, this is a little nod to later. So, Elizabeth as gameplay, as our helper companion, never really gets in the way. She ends up being extremely helpful, but she went through a lot of iterations as well. It made sense why she was playable later on in the DLC. You know, obviously they had to look back at other companions in games, things like Enslaved Odyssey to the West, even Resident Evil 4 with Ashley Graham, to see how it's done. Some would argue how they did things with Ashley in Resident Evil 4 back then was probably not the best way of doing it. It became babysitting, you know. And Elizabeth is not someone who needs to be babysat at all. She's there with you the whole way through most combat, but mainly just stays in cover. And we had a conversation about this when it comes to stealth and AI in allies, right? We talked about Ellie being able to walk between cover, no one batting an eyelid, all that kind of stuff. And we talked about if you were to make everybody see the allies, then it would break stealth. And I agree 100%. But Elizabeth is, it's not really a stealthy game, I get that. But Elizabeth is still, I think, a really good benchmark for how to do an ally companion who's not meant to be combat, you know. It's not about switching over to her. She's always there. She helps. She throws things. She serves very little purpose in combat besides being a helper. But I think it works. She's allowed to stay with the story, you know, and have a purpose without ever interfering in my eyes. But you know, to each their own. Obviously, it might not have worked so much in Ellie, but it kind of does. Like Ellie works like where she will shoot and do takedowns. But yet then breaks, 100% breaks the immersion by walking around in stealth mode. So what's the problem then? The problem is stealth. It's stealth.
Last night, there they go again. We go through boxes of fuses every day as of late. Just in the siphon alone, I don't... Oh, something's happening.
Poor little guy, probably gets fucking stuck on machines. But yeah, that's the point I'm making. I know it seems weird to double back on my, you know, obvious annoyance with stealth, but that's what it is. So I think if you're pushing stealth in a modern video game that has no need for it, you know, games like Splinter Cell, Metal Gear and Hitman, obviously stealth is the way to go, and they work really well because stealth is not an afterthought. Games like The Last of Us, games like whatever, Watch Dogs, you name it, these kind of games, these kind of shooters that have stealth is so fucking blindly stupid. Same with Assassin's Creed as well. So stupid. They should either be cutscene moments or complete choices, you know. And obviously you have the choice to go balls to the walls, but nearly all of those games have you either insta-killed or they reload, reset, mission failed, that kind of bollocks. So it's stupid. Stealth has no business in video games that is not designed specifically around it. And this proves it as well. You can have stealthy moments and kill people, but it's never necessary. Elizabeth never gets in the way.
To imagine one's future.
Exoprimal looks a good game. It could be good. I'm going to try it. It's July, right?
I have seen the seeds of fire that will prepare the Sodom
fire? You got a little bit Irish there. I'll try and be a little more quiet.
Elizabeth shall sow those seeds, not I.
Because there's no subtitles during these.
I will fall before the job is done. But she shall take up my mantle. The Lord is calling me home. I feel his love in every tumor, because they are the train which takes me to his station. And I go with joy, knowing that Elizabeth will take my earthly place. But the false shepherd is coming to lead my lamb astray. I will not board that train until she is safe from his deceptions.
There you go. See, it's not talked about too much, but Comstock is dying. It's hard to tell if it's just from old age or from all these experiments. There's definitely like radiation involved. So you can see this one being one of the many siphons that is powering the city, all connected to Elizabeth. You can hear her singing. She's actually singing "Everybody Wants to Rule the World." Now you might ask yourself, how in the holiest of halls could she know that song where it's 1912? But you'll find out soon enough what that's all about. Everybody wants to rule the world. We must meet our fair maiden. Break her out of her prison. They're definitely painting Comstock, you know, as the bad guy, obviously. And something that we have to save her from, but we'll see. So these were really cheeky one-way mirrors that they could look in and see her doing her lessons of the day. This is where she was learning how to lockpick. This is a nod to the lockpicking in the game being completely, almost exclusively done by Elizabeth, which is cool. This is her bedroom and clearly her music classes. So you start to see what starts off as a scientific monitoring clearly is extremely fucking creepy, especially when you think of the fact that this is a girl who's been raised since very young. Can you imagine all the things she's had to go through, you know? Poor thing. I like this. This is a great reveal. This whole section feels very much like your first nod to the little sisters in Bioshock 1, you know? You get to see them kind of in their own little tra-la-la worlds, you know? They're like la-la-la, little innocent, brainwashed, rather specimen, and they're never given a name, always specimen. Seed of the Prophet is the closest they'll ever get to a name. There she is. That's our fair maiden. She dreams of Paris. Elizabeth Comstock. We get to see a nod to the finger already, the thimble. She's missing a portion of her pinky finger. She had a very different design. It's all she can think of is Paris. As someone who's trapped their whole life, of course they think of leaving, of a bird flying. The bird in its cage is absolutely a nod to Elizabeth. Same as the sunbird is. It's like a bird in a cage, and you spin them around fast enough, the bird is within the cage, but it's within the cage and without the cage, both at the same time. It's that old nod, that old theory. You gotta love it. It always comes back to parallel universes, right? It's both everywhere and nowhere. She's quite the painter. Obviously been trapped all these years, it has allowed her to become a wonderful musician, painter, you name it. And wait for it, the big reveal. Elizabeth has some powers. Whoa! There it is. And there's the song. Elizabeth has the power to rip A hole in the fabric of space and time.
It's got nothing to do with the job at hand.
She doesn't realize what she just did there, but she didn't just want to go to Paris. She ripped a hole in space and time and went to 1980s Paris. Like, she wouldn't even know what the hell that thing is coming towards her, that vehicle, you know? Because cars were very, very, like, you know, obtuse back then, 1912. And obviously, the cinema you could see the Eiffel Tower, you could hear, like I said, Tears for Fears. It's kind of cool. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which is a great song choice because you hear, you know in the lyrics exactly what the game is about. Everybody wants to rule the world. Everybody wants to rule Elizabeth's world. And Comstock to Booker. Like I said, to me, Booker is very much a villain in this game. Hell yeah. Really disgusting being watched that. Right, she would undoubtedly be insane, right? Exactly. How she's come out the far side with any kind of normalcy is beyond me. I feel so bad for her. Now here's Lutess.
What
These
makes
were
the
the
girl
scientists.
different? I suspect it has less to do with what she is, and rather more with what she is not. A small part of her remains from where she came. It would seem the universe does not like its peas mixed with its porridge.
So there, you can see now the Lutesses have been messing around with parallel universes and that. It goes pretty deep. Yeah. Thing is, having no outward interaction has it been a good thing or a bad thing? You know? The drive her insane or keep her completely innocent to the cruelty around her, the prejudices of man, the failure of modern societies. Maybe it was a good thing after all.
Library.
Specimen tracker. I just hate that they treat her as a number, a specimen, a thing, you know, instead of a person. It's disgusting. Careful now.
Holy shit.
You gotta remember, we are
I can do this.
On top of the giant statue of Elizabeth. With her wings all around us is Columbia. Pretty cool. It really does look like a modern city, not realizing it's floating hundreds of thousands of feet in the air. Now, being up this high, you would probably be blowing off, honestly. You'd freeze to death. Wouldn't be much air up here either. You'd have a lot of oxygen deprivation. At least a little bit. Because you assume this city is way higher than something like Mount Everest and things like that. Well, that's a hell of a way for a first meeting, but there you go.
Hello.
Nice. And what book did she have in her hand? The Odyssey.
Stop it! Will you stop it? Not here to hurt you.
Who are you?
My name is DeWitt. I'm a friend. I come to get you out of here.
Get away! Are you real?
Aww.
Real enough.
Uh-oh.
He's coming. You've got to go.
Why?
You don't want to be here when he gets here. Just a minute, I'm getting dressed.
Get you out of here.
There's no way out. Trust me, I've looked. Stop it, you're too impatient. That's enough.
What about this?
What about it?
This is the way out, isn't it?
What are you... Give it to me.
See? Think about like two different parallel worlds. One with a free bird, one with a caged one. You spin them together. She's both in the cage and without. So like the original little sister and her fair guardian, Big Daddy. Elizabeth has her own guardian. These are meant to be like fucking Comstock. They'll come into play later. Let's get the hell out of here. Nice, that's not even a real window, is it? Ah, you cheeky bastard. I never noticed that. Never even noticed it. It's one of those 3D illusions. Cool. Alright. Time to bust her out of this prison. If the songbird will let us. Let's go.
Keep me locked up in here.
Songbird singing in the dead of night. You take your life, we'll take your wife.
How did you come here? This way, come on!
Songbird actually feels like more sentient than most. But his foolishness to attack and kill Booker, and end up killing Elizabeth.
Call the elevator!
What?
The hell is... Press the button!
Come on, come on, come on.
What is all this?
You're gonna have your guts for guarded. Uh-oh.
All this time. Why? Why did they put me in here? What am I? What am I?
You're the girl who's getting out of this tower.
Hello. Pleased to meet you. Elizabeth, time to help. Ooh. Elevator wins. She makes it sound as if she doesn't know.
To keep moving. He's tearing the building apart.
Careful, Elizabeth.
How do you know my name?
Not now.
Hurry!
It's a good question.
There's a door up here.
Bum, 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 bum.
Out of the way, let me try.
We gotta do the honors.
Which way?
Courtney Draper does an amazing job as Elizabeth. You might think it's like Laura Bailey or something just because Troy Baker has so much affiliation with them, but no. It's Courtney Draper. She makes Elizabeth her own. Go, 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 go. Oh, it's a great moment. Where are you, Songbird? Oh, here he comes. He's pissed. There goes the statue. It's a prison no more. Oh, he's coming back around. He's fast. Such a cool, really cool design. Mix of steampunk and Da Vinci-esque, you know. Oh. Songbird got his prey. Water pressure, I think.
Mr. DeWitt!
Mr. DeWitt! Someone's really cool about playing the game more once you see him for what he is. Yeah. Bring us the girl, pay back the bill.
What do you want with her?
If she's singing, the sucker will be unbroken
Tell me what
again.
you want with her.
Open this door right now!
Are you going to hurt her? Tell me what you want!
Is this how things are gonna play out?
Anna!
A call of a suspicious name. Ooh, I love it. It really does drip feed the story really beautifully, huh? That's what I was saying, like the Elizabeth part of things is wonderful. And now she gets to experience a little bit of freedom. After saving Booker's life, no less. Why save him now, only to do what she does later?
Anna.
No, it's me. Elizabeth. Are you alright?
I think Courtney Draper was relatively, like, new to video game voice acting, I think. At this time, you know. She did a lot of TV stuff.
I said I'm fine.
Skiddly hey.
Just give me a minute.
She's got such a lovely, like, soothing voice.
Do you hear that? It's music.
Go on, I just
Okay, I won't be long. I won't be long,
I
Mr.
don't think anyone else could have played her. So now she's got a little bit of freedom. Like an innocent child discovering the world for the first time. As weird as it is, we did land on a beach, but we're still in Colombia. We didn't fall all the way down. to Earth. We're still in Colombia. How we hit this little piece of water, I'll never know. Matrix, thank you. Hello, how's it going? Thank you for the biddies. Cheers. Cool name as well. Don't know if you're a fan of the Matrix. Awesome. Just playing a little Bioshock Infinite. Kind of trying to tell some stories of, you know, what things were like back then. You know, it's only been 10 years, but you know, I feel like it was a different time, even just for video games. You know, we're moving into a new generation. This is like one of the last games to come out. Just before that November would have been the PS4 and Xbox One. You know, kind of changed things. But it was a hell of a year to go out. Like, even if you remove all of the launch games for the Xbox One and the PS4, you've still got an insane amount of games. Obviously, The Last of Us changed things forever. This game changed things as well. We haven't had a single Bioshock since, you know. So, Bioshock Isolation has a lot to live up for. I'd say we might see that game maybe this year, but I'd say we won't play it probably till the following year. But we're getting close. Did you call an egg who has visited all the POIs and Explorer? Points of interest, is it, in the world? Yeah, Songbird, I definitely feel like he was meant to be that Big Daddy moment, you know? I don't know if he has quite the impact as the Big Daddies, you know, and it's not his fault. I mean, the Big Daddies are so pivotal to Bioshock, they're literally, you know, the game can't exist without them, you know? That's how I feel. And then obviously becoming one at the end, you know? It's not as if you're going to become Songbird, he's the one and only. That's where the Handyman kind of take over for that bigger, wider, tougher enemy, like a Big Daddy in combat only, but they have literally no backstory. They've literally nothing to them. The Handymen are a foolish, very rushed feeling of an enemy, and you can tell that's why they kind of become so prominent in the second half of the game. Yes, the First Lady will be going up there soon, obviously named after Lady Comstock, her own little airship, as a kind of a sister or husband-wife airship to Comstock's very own. But yeah, now you get to, this is really cool. But I'm going to leave it here for Bioshock Infinite. I know that seems kind of tough, but I think it's such a nice time to come back to and just have Elizabeth, just be able to watch her explore and have fun. It's really cool. Hell yeah, that's a good place. I think it's already grabbed a save point there anyway.